the black and white pieces in chess are usually bitter enemies, but the people playing the game are good friends. Okay, this is on politics in general. I think in America, we the people, your neighbor, you'll argue with your neighbor. We are the pieces. They manipulate us, and then we get angry with each other, and they're good friends. All right, hey everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Raising Heights with Zach and Tori. I'm Zach.
I'm Tori.
We're happy you're here.
Thank you guys for being here.
Yeah, if you're jumping in.
Good luck on this one if you're jumping in.
Yeah, good luck.
Buckle up. Yeah, hold on tight.
If this is your first episode, you know, there might be more episodes.
There's some really good touchy-feely ones in like the beginning of season 1.
Yeah, this one might get a little, anyway. No, it'll be a good episode. I'm going to feel really good about it. I feel like the end, I feel like I bottle a lot of things. And one of the missions of this podcast was a platform where we could say what we want to say and do what we want to do, you know, and hopefully express our ways in an educational way, but also just a thoughtful way. And
it's our podcast. We can cry if we want to.
Yeah. We can. So I don't know. So I'm excited for today. But let's do peak and pit to start us off here. What's your peak?
My peak? Well, okay. I had my peak when I sat down, and now I can't remember. So can you go first so I can think about mine?
Yeah, my peak was Jackson's baseball.
Oh, yeah.
Jackson did a baseball evaluation day at Little League.
I love him. He's so good.
Yeah, and it was just great. He was with, I think he was definitely the shortest kid. But I feel like he was one of the younger kids. He was in an age group where his age was the youngerest.
It was 5 to 7. No,
it was like 7 to 9.
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay, yeah.
So he was one of the younger kids in addition, but I felt like he handled himself really well.
He's so good.
Yeah, he was really... Yeah, he was just great.
He's so good at jumping in. And like, I think both of us, when we were younger, if I got dropped off at an evaluation for soccer or softball or tennis or whatever I was doing, I would have been so hesitant and nervous. Oh, yeah. And he shows up and storms the field. Like, where do I go?
He asked me to bring my mitt because we were a little early. He's like, we can play catch while we wait. So I'm like, sure. I bring my mitt out 10 seconds. I'm not even done signing his name in. And I turn around and he's playing with 5 different kids
that he's never met before.
Well, no, Theo was part of that group, but
okay, well, still, same. Like, either way, even if he didn't know them, he'd still be there.
Yeah, he jumps right in, and just starts playing with all these kids, and I just do the walk of shame back to my car and
go sit down, Dad.
No, I put my mitt back in the car.
Well, and then Zach calls me because it was very cold, and we didn't go right away because it didn't start right away. So me and the littles were doing something else.
The littles.
Was that offensive?
No, I don't know.
That's true. I have to distinguish because you're all my littles. The youngers. I'll say the youngers. Me and my youngers. We went somewhere else. And then Zach calls me and goes, I think it's a little cold. Can you bring sweatpants for Jackson and his sunglasses?
Yeah.
And so I run home and I grab the sweatpants and sunglasses. And Zach goes out to give them to him on the field. And Jackson's just like, Dad, like, go away. Yeah. Like, I got this. Like, it's fine.
Yeah.
I don't know if he ended up ever putting them on.
Well, he never put the pants on, but I'm going to give a shout out once again to Battleground high school baseball team.
Oh, yeah.
At the last station, a couple of their players, this is the second year now, I've been super impressed with those boys' behavior with kids and like no snickering, no laughing. They're paying attention. Doesn't matter if the kid gives a terrible throw. Like, their attitude, I think now 2 years in a row has been fantastic, but they all look like baseball players. They have the hat, they have the sunglasses, they have all the things, okay? Well, I give Jackson his sunglasses in the beginning. He doesn't want them because none of the other kids really had them.
Cool, Dad. No one else has
Yes, but then after that station, we're done. Baseball's over. He runs to his backpack, putting all his stuff away, gets his sunglasses out and puts them on.
So good. After seeing the high school boys on
after
them.
Seeing the high schoolers
He's so
and
funny
how they
like
dressed
that.
or whatever. And it was like, I was like, I'm
Jackson's
done.
like, he's so, like, he is cool. Can I say that? Am I allowed to say that about my own kid?
He's pretty cool.
But like, very particular when it comes to clothing and
Yeah.
things, but he's like the trendsetter. There was a moment where and I feel like you and I try to be pretty like open to it, you know.
Yeah.
I try. I struggle,
Yep.
but I try. But there was one day that he had 2 different color Nike shoes. He had a red one and a black one. And he goes, "Can I wear one of each?" And
Yeah.
at that moment, he goes to a private school where they have uniform, and there's not always an opportunity for them to express themselves. And so I was like, sure, whatever. Like, they're both the same shoe. Go for it. Well, the next time I come to pick up, 5 other kids
Oh my
have different
gosh.
color shoes on, you know, like
Yeah.
total trendsetter.
Or did he say that because someone else was already doing it though?
I asked him, you're right. That's
Yeah.
a very valid question. But I asked him and I said, why do you want to do this? Like, did you see someone else do it?
Yeah.
And he goes, no, it's just fun.
Okay.
So he
that's
set
fine.
it up as he did it.
Yeah.
And then like, but he's like that. He's
Yeah.
very confident dude. He's very like, this is, and then the last couple, which I've gotten kind of angry about this one. Cause he loves the like Under Armour.
Yeah.
It's not actually Under Armour cause that's a brand. It's like, what's it called? Like the pajama,
layer,
like
the layer. Yeah.
what do they
Under
call
Armour,
that?
Columbia, like layer.
I know, what do they call that? It's like a base layer,
Yeah,
like
base
that you
layer.
would wear underneath like your ski stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
What do they call that? There's a name for it.
I don't know. I get your point. Everyone else gets their point.
I know, and
Base
everyone
layer.
else is gonna say
Everyone's
it.
gonna understand base layer.
Anyway, so he's been wearing this underneath his uniform because it's his favorite thing to
Yeah.
wear at home. It's basically tights and a like a long sleeve tight shirt.
Yeah.
And he's been wearing it underneath his uniform.
Yeah.
And there's been a couple days he'll come home and go, "Mom, I got so hot at school." And I'm like,
duh.
duh. You have all this stuff on.
Knucklehead.
But it's like he thinks that's cool. And so he's confident and he's going to do it because he thinks it's funny.
We're also we're like bragging about this, but there's how many arguments has he started in other homes because they've
Yeah.
said, well, Jackson wears 2 different shoes, so we get annoyed when Jackson
so
comes
true.
home. Jackson does that same thing. So-and-so got to do this.
Yeah.
And we'll say, no, we're not doing it like that.
That's true. We do say that a lot. So yeah, sorry to all the parents out there, and to the teacher
Yeah.
that has to listen to him.
It's cool
I'm sweating
sometimes.
right now.
It's cool sometimes, and then other times
I
it's
know.
so.
That's so true.
Anyway,
But
that was my peak.
that's a good peek.
My pit was their Jeep breaking down that we got for Christmas.
no.
It's been 2 months.
Started smoking.
Yeah, one of the engines started smoking.
Such a bummer.
And it's fairly expensive. It was a Power Wheels
Yeah.
Jeep thing. So I'm going to email them and see.
If we can get that fixed.
Yeah, because I feel
Okay,
like it's
then
a little.
that also kind of goes with my pit then. Can I share my pit?
Yeah.
Am I going to get in trouble for last night?
What was your pit last night?
What did we do last night? So, guys, again, Zach and I and our Costco fiascos, we try really
yikes,
hard
yeah.
to be like, but I purchased a Roomba. It's only been, a couple of months,
Yeah.
and it's been having issues. Like
Yeah.
a lot of issues. And I've been going back and forth because I love Roomba. Shout out to iRobot. This is nothing against them. I feel like I got a lemon. Okay. I
Okay,
really do
yeah.
feel like I got a lemon and I haven't been able to troubleshoot it. So it was from Costco. I've been wrestling with it again. It was the whole
Yeah.
fridge or freezer thing over
Yeah.
again. So last night we took it to Costco and finally returned it because I'm like, I can't put more energy into this. I've wasted a lot of times trying
Yep.
to fix this. I just need to return it. So we had to return it thinking that they would have another one that we could pick up and try
Yeah.
again. And they didn't have a
Yeah.
Roomba. They did
Yeah.
not have and so I feel like in my mind, it's a little bit of
Karma.
I have to remind because we had to pep talk ourselves for the freezer. I had to pep talk myself for this Roomba. And I felt like it was a little bit of a slap on my wrist of see,
Yeah.
should have fixed it. Should have
Yeah.
figured it out.
Calm
And
down. Yeah.
So I don't have a Roomba. That's my pit.
That is a pretty big pit
So now
for
I
you.
have
You
to,
run that thing 3 times a
I
day.
love Roomba. You guys, if you have kids and a dog, get yourself a Roomba. They
Maybe that's
really
why I
are
broke, though.
amazing. I don't know though. This one has this is my 3rd or 4th one. We've had, because I've upgraded every time it's upgraded. I'm like, we got to get the new one.
Yep.
And so we have upgraded, and this has been the first one that I've the other ones
hasn't
I've
lasted.
ran for 2 years.
Yeah.
2 years before
Yeah.
they start having issues,
Yep.
And I run mine probably twice a day.
Yeah.
Some people probably run
Minimum.
theirs twice a week.
Yep.
And I'm twice a day. I'm so OCD about our floors. I'm so obsessed with keeping them clean. So anyway, that was my pit.
What's a peak?
Now I don't have a Roomba. Peak. We got chickens. Little chickies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
I was surprised you didn't say
that was
one.
a great.
That was a really
my
fun
gosh.
experience. We got little chicks.
Yeah, the chicks was great. Yeah, we got chicks. The kids were so excited.
fun.
Jackson was so excited.
But
the
even
lead up to it.
Liz held them. She was like in the store. You guys can go watch her vlog if you want. But she was in the store like, I think I'm too scared to hold them.
Yeah.
And then now she's like,
But
catching
she doesn't
them.
like the claws. She didn't, I should say, because now she does.
You said because she was afraid they were going to bite her.
Yeah.
And I love you, but you did, I think, freak her out when you said they might be a little pokey.
Well, because the claws, like the little claws on the hand, she's going to feel a little bit of a
No, she's a little pokey.
So I was just trying to give her
So
a
that
heads
freaked
up.
her out.
Yeah, I tried to give her a heads up.
You're right, though. You should have, though.
But now, no, she went in there the other day and picked one up.
Picks them up now.
Yeah, now by herself. So, no, Chicks was great. The
was
selection
fun.
wasn't great because I think we came on a Friday and
Yeah.
the Chicks come on a Wednesday.
So are you guys
Thursday,
going to go
Friday.
back tomorrow?
We want to
more?
get there's a certain
Silkies.
brand. Silkies?
Brand?
Yeah, Silkies. Or type.
Certain
brand.
The
Silkies. We want to
That's
try
what
to get
Rudy
some
said. Rudy
Silkies.
said they're called silkies.
Yeah,
So I
or
don't
something
know.
like a Silky. It's one of those like funny looking chickens.
They're
I
the
think.
ones that have like the funny little head. It looks like they're wearing like a headpiece.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it'd be fun.
That'd be
So we got
fun.
3 chickens. We said we're gonna get 5. We got 3 baby chicks. We need to get 2 more, and then we're gonna once these chicks start laying eggs.
I know you shouldn't say this anymore. Don't say it.
Why?
Just say we got 3. We're gonna get 2 more.
Well, no, we'll give them. We're not gonna do anything bad. to them.
People are not happy about us giving away 3 chickens. People are saying we're not giving them a chance because it's winter and they just aren't laying as much in the winter. So you need to like slow your roll.
Okay, well, these chicks will probably start laying around May
Mm-hmm.
or June, and if these other chickens that we have get their act back together,
Yeah.
they can stay. But if not,
I really hope they do because I would enjoy having 8 again. That's how many we would have,
yeah,
right?
there's an egg shortage right now.
And I have come. I think because there was a time that we had 7 or 8,
8, yeah,
and we were overwhelmed with eggs.
yeah.
But now I don't think we would get there. We use so many eggs, and we
Yeah.
could give them away.
Yeah, we have more kids now. More like for one.
You do it every day,
Well,
like.
one batch of scrambled eggs now is like
Yeah.
8 or 10 eggs.
And I've been doing like I feel like we're at a capacity more for like we're at a capacity where we need more eggs. So I
Well, if
wouldn't be
someone's
mad
not
if they
pulling their
stayed.
weight though, because
Yeah, if some lady out there is
it's too much poop, it's too much food.
yeah, that's
Okay,
true.
so if you're not laying eggs, then
But do you know how much I just paid for eggs today? Because they're out at our grocery store.
how much? A lot.
A lot.
Yeah,
I paid like $10 for a dozen.
there is, guys. I think we've talked about this before though, but there is a difference in your farm
Guys, there's
eggs.
a huge difference.
There's a difference in taste, look, everything between farm egg
Mm-hmm.
and store bought egg. I don't care if you buy whatever store bought type of egg they have. They have free range or whatever
No.
nonsense. They have blue, white, green, okay, brown egg. Farm egg is it's good.
What's the saying? Breast is best.
Yeah, and
Farm eggs are best. Okay, guys.
yeah, farm eggs are best.
That's where it's at.
So,
Sorry, that might have been weird. That might
that
have
was a
been a
little
weird
weird.
one.
I wasn't following you on that. So, all right, guys, we're gonna get into today's episode topic.
Buckle up.
Buckle up, okay?
Buckle it up.
Buckle up, okay? If you're listening to it in a car, you're already buckled.
Hopefully you're already buckled.
If no one's in your passenger seat, put that seatbelt on.
Just
okay?
buckle it in.
Yeah. Okay. Super exciting to get this book here. My brother Jacob actually found this.
Jacob with the nuggets
Yeah.
lately.
Jacob's been coming out with some nuggets.
Nuggets.
Okay. I'm a big history guy. I love history. I think if you've been following it long enough, people know that. I did a Pickett's Charge video. If you're an LPB fan, like if you're an Little People Big World fan, like you're a fan, a real true fan, okay? You'll remember I did a Pickett's Charge video for a history class. Back
Where is
in-
that video
Yeah,
at?
junior, senior year.
Ooh.
Okay, so anyway.
Mueller. Where you at, Mueller?
Huge history fan. This is a history book of LPA, Little People of America, and it's a story. It literally says in the book, this is so we can document and write down how LPA started and the opinions of all the presidents at the time, and like it for me Super fascinating. Awesome book. But also just very informative. So anyway,
Because this is not just like a yearbook. This is like an actual.
no, it's not just a yearbook. It's like there's information in here.
Yeah, this is way.
Yeah,
cool.
like their first constitution.
And the original chapters.
If you're a history person, like this constitution, the original LPA constitution, like the second section talks about like communism. You know, if anyone knows, that was right after World War II. We're in the Cold War. Like that was a huge topic. You know what I'm saying? And like that talks about, like nowadays, that's not what you're putting in. Like no one's putting that in their opening documents.
Right.
You know?
That's wild.
So like that kind of history.
So cool.
It also talks about like what their concerns were at the time. And it talks about the name a lot, how they came to the name of Little People, what they were first referred to, and the different people groups that formed to make, you know, LPA, Little People of America. And that's one of the points I want to get to today. All right. Another point I want to say, before I say any of this, I want to say this point. A lot of topics in the world right now, a lot of politics, a lot of everything. There's a phrase I recently came across with chess. Jackson and me started doing a lot of chess recently. But the black and white pieces in chess are usually bitter enemies. But the people moving the pieces, the people playing the game are good friends.
Ooh.
Okay?
In most cases.
In most cases, okay? If you're a huge chess fan, okay, there's some controversy in the chess world.
And I was gonna say, wasn't there somebody that just stormed off with a match?
But anyway,
in general, though,
yeah,
you usually play.
Don't let that distract you.
You play chess with your friends.
And I think it's a huge thing. Like, there's a video recently at the I think President Carter's funeral with like Trump and Obama laughing and joking around together. Okay, that isn't a play on either one of them. You know what I'm saying? This is on politics in general, I think, in America. We, the people, your neighbor, you'll argue with your neighbor. We'll argue with the people we actually live life with, you know, based off feelings that the people moving the pieces, we are the pieces, they give us or manipulate us, you know, and then we get angry with each other, and they're good friends. They all get along. They're just on two different sides up there, but deep down, they're on the same. Do you get my point a little bit?
Oh, 100%. That's
okay. So I want to put that out there. And with that said, I don't want to sound. This is going to sound like I am playing the game that those puppet masters wants us to play. But I do feel it's important I say my opinion. And I do truly believe this is a response to other things that have been said. Like, I did not wake up and say, I want to say this.
This is not a reaction. This is a response.
Yeah, I do feel I need to respond in some ways. So we aren't not huge, I don't think, PC people. I don't think we get super offended by little things.
Like, you mean speech-wise?
Speech-wise.
Like, politically correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I do think there's a couple things with politics. I feel like certain subjects in politics are accredited to one side or other. And if you're on the right side, well, you can't think these things because that's a left-sided issue. Well, it's like, and we're so polarized like that, where it's like, you can also be like, that's the problem with the two-party system in a way. It's like, you're either this or you're that. Well, it's like, I like parts over here and I like parts over here. That's okay, you know.
But you're not allowed, like, in society to have that.
Yeah, there's certain things, and I'm guilty of this. I'll see something too of someone, or someone will say something. I'm like, oh, that person's probably thinks this or thinks that way or does this. You know what I'm saying? So like, it's a tough to fight against. With that said, PC language, I do feel like is more of a left, or being more aware of our language and how we speak is a left wing or left-sided topic or movement. They really push that. Okay. And I appreciate that. I do think that's better for society. I'm not super offended though by it. I'm not super like, I don't get worked up the same way. You know what I'm saying, a little bit?
Yeah.
But I do appreciate those efforts. Recently, I was talking to a friend, and he was like, we're talking and he goes like, man, don't you wish we can talk like we did in high school still? I get his point. We're so walking on glass these days and who knows what,
Because not everyone has that forgiving nature that we do. That like if you say something if you say something that maybe isn't PC, we are not going to take personal offense to it. But other people
you look
do.
at where the heart is, you look at where their intention is,
Yeah.
And so I get his point, but at the same time, it's like, no, like I don't want to talk how I did in high school. I'm 35 years old. That was we're looking at 20 years ago pretty soon here, like that would be super weird if I still behave. Because
if you
some
did
of
not
that,
evolve
some
from
of that
that
speech
moment.
came from behavior and personality and like my thoughts of the world. Immaturity.
Yeah.
So it's like, if I was speaking like that still,
You didn't grow. Like
Yeah,
there's
you
been
didn't
no
grow.
growth since
There's
you
been
were
no
17
growth,
years old. Yeah.
Again, I see his point in the grand scheme, but then it's like, no. So I want to put that out there.
Yeah.
As my base here. The M word, I'm going to say the M word, just so we're here. Okay.
Cover your ears.
Yeah, cover your ears. Okay. Midget is a bad word, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Not
offensive word.
This isn't me being PC, though. This is where it's important, I think, for me to say this. In the sense of, like, I can go to the store, put me in almost any high school. You can hear it on TV between sports people, on Twitter, when there's anger or what's a quick way to put someone down, the M word is used. You know what I'm saying? In a demeaning, derogatory way. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's why, in my opinion, it's a bad word. It's not me telling you it's a bad word. And if you don't care about my feelings and you want to, like, it's not about my feelings about it. How the world treats the word, how society treats the word currently, in my mind, is why it's bad. Not how we talked about it in history or who was called what 100 years ago. How we currently use the word in a quick, witty, anger, spiteful way. Does that make sense?
100%. You said you weren't going to say that during this episode.
So that's my
holding you accountable.
I know that's my segue into that. There is, so that's my segue into the word, the M word, I'm going to say. But then also it's going to lead into some of these current political issues and something that happened recently that Trump said. And then it leads into my other thoughts on certain subjects. There's high schools, or there's schools. They're not all high schools. Yeah. There's a campaign, Mascots Matter. Okay. And one of their missions, I think their main mission is there's schools in America that still have the M word as a mascot.
Yes.
All right. I don't always fully agree with how these movements go about it and their arguments.
You agree with the movement. You
I
agree with the schools
with the movement.
Should not have the name.
Yeah.
However, we don't always agree with how
they go about
fought
it.
Against.
Yeah, how it's fought.
Promoted.
It sometimes for me comes across very emotional and just kind of like, are you trying to understand where they're coming from, or you're talking in your own little bubble here where your argument is going to make a lot of sense and resonate within our echo chamber, community, community, but it's not. So are we really looking for change here?
Right.
We truly are, but are we changing, or are we just kind of trying to get all mad and emotional?
Riling up people that are in the LP community.
Yeah.
Doesn't always help.
But then also some of these arguments, you're just rallying up them on the other side, the people that are in these towns that have these names, those mascots, you know what I'm saying?
Because most of these schools, to my knowledge, are in very small towns.
Yep.
That are very passionate about where their name comes from.
Midwest.
Whether or not we agree with it, because a lot of times, like you have said, they have gotten their names because they were kind of making fun of themselves for being small. And that's where I think it totes that line of being inappropriate, because it's like you were making fun of yourself. This is no longer a joke.
Yep.
But they're very passionate about it. They're very passionate about the name.
Yep.
And where they've come from.
Yep.
And so if you're equally emotional about it, then they're going to become emotional about it. And it's like, no one's going to change.
Once trenches are dug, it's very difficult, to get someone out of a trench.
Yeah.
So, and that's like, but I do agree, like, and that's part of my argument, like, to my friend and all these other things of like, well, hold on here. Like, I would say, I don't, maybe this has been done, but it's also like, so one of the main arguments is the word midget was used as a derogatory term 100 years ago in circuses to demean people and put people, stereotype, people with dwarfism, little people. It brings me up to my history book here.
Yeah.
Okay. And like, this is not to undermine the movement. Okay. But it's like, I do feel if we went into a different direction, maybe there would be more traction. At the end of the day, though, if they don't, we gotta, as a society, we've talked about this a lot on this podcast. We gotta move forward.
Yeah.
Okay. We don't have the luxury to wallow as a victim. We already have the world stacked against us in a way.
Right. You're talking about LPs.
LPs. I'm sorry. Yeah. So in this book, it talks about the start of LPA, the name, and the very first, the banner across the very first meeting.
Wait, I think you just passed it.
The banner across the very
Isn't it right there?
first.
Right there.
Yeah, the banner across the very first convention was Midgets of America.
Right.
Granted, at that time, that word probably in this book, it speaks about dwarfism, the name dwarfs. So there's dwarfs and there's midgets. And Billy Barty, the founder, was basically like, according to this book, like, let's not offend either side of the community.
Because it was divided of what was derogatory and what was acceptable.
Yeah, some people were like, we are dwarfs, and at the time the word dwarf was derogatory.
Right.
So that's for me, like, going to say, hey.
So he wasn't sure. He didn't want to make either side upset. So he renamed it Little People of America.
Yeah, so in the first meeting, he's like, Midgets of America was to attract you all here, like a name that just resonates and resonates probably with the bigger society. Hey, I know one of those people in my town. Hey, did you hear about this convention? You know what I'm saying? But then at that convention, he said, hey, we should rename this. We'll be Little People of America, to not offend the dwarfs or the midgets, fascinating to me. Okay, go back to the mascots matter argument. And it's like, so if you look at the history and everything, yeah, to me, that's not if those people at these schools looked up our history, that's what they're going to read. And now the argument doesn't make as much sense. For me, it's just society has moved on.
Just as a side note, we've seen this in our own personal life. Like the older generation that we know, I thought this was a good point just to bring up, because when I first started dating you and introducing you to people who I know their heart and I know their education, and I know that they are not here to demean or degrade you in any way. When I first started dating you, the grandma was like, oh, you're dating that M word.
Yeah.
And we all had to be like, no, you can't say. But for her, she wasn't saying it mean. She wasn't being disrespectful. She was just like, that's how she was brought up. And she never read that book, never heard Billy Barty's side of anything. And so that's been her standard. That's like...
Yeah, 100%. But then I feel like our behavior reacting to that, we know the heart, we know the mind, and then behavior changed, in my mind...
Behavior changed or language changed?
Language changed. Yeah. You're right. And so that's a great point. I kind of forgot about that point. There's a couple things that how I, again, base the M word on my opinion. We have friends that speak a certain way, and then all of a sudden when I came into the picture, to themselves...
Calling their kids little people, and then... The roll-offs walk in the room, and all of a sudden that felt weird. All of a sudden it felt weird to call your kids little people.
I didn't need to mock them or yell at them or
you just had to be
make
present.
them feel bad. Yes. Sometimes just the presence. And then empathy, understanding, change.
And so I would be very curious to know these schools that have a mascot that is a midget. I wonder, has an LP ever attended one of 100%. Those schools? Because would it feel different if an LP child walked into a high school or middle school or whatever school it was? If they walked into that scenario, would the community all of a sudden be like, oh, this is weird?
So 2 points there. I agree. also there's a lot of people with dwarfism that resonate with the M word still. There's a lot. I know a lot of LPs, being who I am on Little Pubic World and everything. LPA has a great voice, but their voice is very collected, sometimes around one mindset. And that mindset doesn't speak for all LPs.
Doesn't resonate with everyone.
Doesn't resonate with all LPs out there, even in America. Like a lot of LPs I know, they'll have the M word in their username. Like that's a source of pride for them in their town, in their thing. So understanding, so even if there wasn't anyone with dwarfism at these schools, like understanding, so that I'm saying if you say that, the argument kind of falls apart a little bit because they're like, there is no one here, so why should we change the name?
Why do we care? Right.
So that's what I'm saying. It's more like a collective thing. Like we have grown as a society, and like if someone was here, or would it feel weird? My other argument or my other story was we were here in Battleground at the park here.
Oh yeah.
And Jackson and me were down here at just a date break, and we were hanging out, and some guy was like, "Oh hey, you're so and so." Like, yeah, my friends and family told me the family of midgets comes down here, and it kind of got awkward. I didn't say anything, but I didn't like it wasn't.
It was the first time he'd ever met an LP, and it was weird.
And I don't. It was ignorance on his part, but he was a nice enough guy. But then his wife or girlfriend, like, I said something to Jackson, but then her starts whispering to him. You know what I'm saying? And it was a moment of like, I don't think you're supposed to use that word.
Right.
His people corrected him. His people who he loves, trusts, and everything corrected
100%.
him or made a correction. You know what I'm saying? I truly think if I came out guns blazing and you don't say that, blah, 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 I think if I was super emotional about it, I don't think that would have changed anything.
Yeah.
I do think there was change that day because I knew his heart. He wasn't being demeaning to me.
Right.
It was describing something that he heard from someone else. You know what I'm saying? And like, it's not right. And then in that moment, it all of a sudden all makes sense. We can tell people it's not right all day long, but then based on all these examples we just used in the moment, that's really where truth, I think, comes out.
100%.
So that's that. I don't like that.
Like, I don't know if this point is relevant or not, but it is also interesting because I have seen a lot within the LP community that maybe a scenario like that would happen. And then I feel like that's where that line gets a little dangerous of you taking things really personally.
Yeah.
Because I've seen LPs that would leave a scenario like that and they would cry about it and they would like take it very personally and very emotionally, when really it's like a little bit of you have to read the room. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I think a lot of times people with dwarfism would take that as a pity me and like, and that's also not helpful because then it's like, you're pitting this person that really was innocent, and yes, they might have been ignorant in what they were saying, but they were innocent in what they were saying. Yeah. And now you've made this like just an emotional mess where it really didn't need to be.
Totally. Yeah. And so that's our thoughts on that word. But then leading up
and
to
also like, are you changing subject?
Well, I was segueing, but continue.
Before we change the subject, though, before we segue.
Well, it's not a subject change, it's a segue, but yeah.
Before we segue into another. This portion of Raising Heights is brought to you by Quince. Who doesn't love the good things in life? Even I enjoy a little luxury, and I love not paying a ton for it.
Yeah, that's where Quince comes in.
That is where Quince comes in. Quince offers a range of high-quality luxury items that are within reach. They have 100% Mongolian cashmere wraps, which is what I have right here. If you're not watching, I have a really nice wrap that keeps me nice and cozy during the wintertime, but it's also a great transition piece into spring.
Yeah.
I can dress it up, dress it down, put it with a nice dress, or you can make it a little more casual. So that's why I really like this. It also washes really well, which I'm a huge fan of because I'm a mom on the go. I don't have time to spend a lot of effort in my clothes, so washing it is super easy.
I feel like this is encouraging us to like maybe dress up a little bit more next time we go on a date.
You gonna take me out?
Yeah,
there we go.
Like, not
do you
just
hear
take
that,
you
people?
Out, but, like we should like dress up.
Yeah, but then also they have slippers.
See, we dress up with the
dress
wrap,
up, dress down,
and then come home and put the slippers on.
And we put the slippers on and we cozy up.
Yeah.
So Quince offers a whole bunch of different things. They have men's, women's, kids. They also have jewelry.
Yeah, tons of options.
Tons of options. And it's really great quality stuff. I love that Quince uses factories that are safe, ethical, and use responsible manufacturing practices.
That's always a good thing.
It's always a good thing. They also use premium fabrics and finishes. Love that.
Yeah, no, it's a great company. Yeah, lots of options, plenty for the kids, men and women. You know,
You feel like you're getting luxury for the not luxury price, which is awesome.
It's one-stop shop. You know, you can shop for the whole family.
Give yourself the luxury you deserve with Quince. Go to quince.com/heights for free shipping on your order plus 365-day returns. That's QUINCE.com/heights to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/heights.
Yeah, check out their website and see what they got.
I do want to say that we support the movement of encouraging schools that are named things like that, like the M word. We do support the encouragement of them changing their name, and we support the movement that is happening to try and do that. And you know, like we know people personally on this, what's it called? The committee.
Yeah.
That are doing a great job. And we want to be really clear that like we support them. I just hope that this maybe helps not our echo chamber, but the community as a whole.
Yeah,
like the average height parents, the average height people who have no clue about this.
Having 3 kids with dwarfism, like, yeah, I do want to see it change, but I do feel like the way LPA sometimes collectively goes about things and responds to things as an organization, but then kind of as a community, that collection of people with dwarfism respond to certain things I'm like, man, and I've said this, I've been vocal about this, a lot of cultural issues within LPA and how they speak about it. And I'm like, man, I don't see it that way. And, you know, it's just how it is. Like, I don't see it that way. And I don't feel like anything's going to change by that reaction, you know? And at the end of the day, you know, so yeah, we do support.
We just support it. Yeah. I just wanted to say that before we segue.
No, yeah, totally.
Now segue.
Yeah, segue. So there was recently a terrible thing happen.
Yeah.
Okay, this is a couple weeks ago now that when you're listening to this, but the plane crash in
DC.
Washington, D.C. with the helicopter. Terrible. Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure more information is going to come out about all that in the meantime.
Right. Whatever you're listening to now, I'm sure it's changed significantly since.
So I want to try to make sure this ages well and not say anything.
Yeah.
Bottom line, that was terrible. I also don't agree in my mind. So back to my beginning of this conversation with you can be on the left and right and you can have right leaning opinions, even though you mostly resonate with left, you know, or vice versa. I don't agree with how Trump politicalized it. Okay. Blaming the potential,
DEI.
The flight controller
as possibly someone with it.
Yeah, that got hired because of DEI. Yeah, I don't agree with that.
I think that it's important to note that like 70 families' lives, 64 families' lives were just turned upside down.
Yeah.
Give it a couple days before you start pointing the finger at everyone.
Yeah. But back to bashing kind of politics in general, okay? Every president I've known since I've started following politics has done this to a crisis here in America, has politicalized things. Let's put that down. This is not something new. Trump's not the first president to politicalize a tragedy.
Tragedy.
Okay.
Tragedy.
So let's get that under the weather real quick.
But
I voted for him, but I don't agree how he went about that. Do you know what I'm saying? And that's okay to say.
Right.
I don't think anyone that voted for Biden agrees everything Biden did. You know what I'm saying a little bit?
Yeah.
Like that should be better or more okay to say, but we're so decisive. Lines have been so drawn that no one can bend a little bit without seeming
and no one
like,
can have grace for anyone or any.
The whole side of debate and conversation has gone out the window.
Oh yeah, you can't. 100%.
Yeah, anyway. The tragedy was terrible. I don't agree with Trump's politicalization of it towards DEI. With that said, LPA ran with it because he was in a press conference. He was reading off a DEI initiative for flight controllers I'm pretty sure it was for flight controllers in specific, and all these disabilities and different people with different cognitive and all. It was an initiative to get these people a job,
right,
as a flight
that
controller.
they could apply for the position of air traffic controller,
Yeah.
according to the FAA. Oh, so that's also another thing that just really grinds my gears. Is it was not like Trump did not come up with this list on his own. I think that that's like the problem that I see with a lot of people in the LPA community is they all think that Trump came up with this
100%.
list. He did not. Like, he did not lump in dwarfism with cognitive disabilities. Like, he did not put those two things together.
Yep.
He just read the list.
Yeah.
So I just have to say that because that's
Totally.
been a very frustrating, like, contextualized
But then
idea.
our LPA or the LP community's reaction to it, for me has just been like very emotional.
Yeah.
Very like, you can blame Trump all you want, and if you need to, like, Trump's only been around for in politics, 4 years, and then it was Biden, and then 4 more years. You know what I'm saying? Like, some of these issues have been here way longer than Trump. So to blame Trump in general, or to think Trump's gonna, like, I don't know, ruin your life, for me, that's a distraction. We're not gonna get better as a community. We're not gonna make improvements if that's how our most collected and loudest voice as a dwarf community is. That's your reaction to basically say, look what Trump just said about you guys. Yeah. He hates you,
And that's the thing is we have heard parents tell their children,
oh yeah,
bless it. They, they're
there's one person in the in the aftermath, this one person with a child not much older than Jackson
with dwarfism.
Yeah, he's
average
like,
height parent.
My son said, average height parent, dwarf child, goes, my son, when Trump got elected, my son said, does Trump like people like me? Basically. That blows your kid has the world against him. Let's not get that wrong. Yeah. We do have, this is where we've talked about parenting in our previous episodes. We do have to parent a little different than our average height. You have to parent a little different than your average height peers. You're not going to get the same luxury. We don't get the same luxury as other average height parents towards certain things. Right. We're going to have to face certain trials with our kids way sooner than other parents. You know what I'm saying? And that's not just for parents with dwarfism. Just if your kid has any sort of disability or anything, there are differences.
Yeah.
Okay? Responding like that, you know what I'm saying?
You're making the differences larger. Like,
you're making him a victim. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? One, it's just bad in my mind, but it's also that reaction to me was very, very poor. And it's you can, when Trump's gone and he's still a dwarf, he's still the last person, he's still the smallest in his class. The class has actually gotten taller and taller. Life's gotten harder and harder. Yeah. But Trump's long gone now. You know what I'm saying? Who is he going to blame now? Yeah. So it's
this victim mentality that we're teaching our children.
It was very like, that was very poor
also,
to me.
the other thing with all of the controversy that's gone on too is I truly don't believe that when this list was read, I truly don't believe that like Trump really sat there and thought about dwarfism.
Here's my thing on it though. Like, there are jobs out there. Your roller coaster thing. We go to the
Can I tell you?
Tell the roller coaster.
I'm going to say my analogy because I think this is segueing into why we might disagree with the stance that LPA has taken on this entire matter, because I'm going to use Disneyland as an example because that's easy for me. When we go to Disneyland and Jackson says, Mom, I want to ride the Incredicoaster. Yep. But he's too short to ride the Incredicoaster.
But his friends who are the
same age can go ride it. Yeah. So that's not fair. How come my friends get to go ride this roller coaster and I can't? I don't immediately go, you're right, let me take this up with the president of Disneyland and get you on this ride. No, it's unsafe for him and it's unsafe for the other riders on the roller coaster to ride it when he is too short.
Yep.
So that kind of goes along the same lines of this whole DEI initiative is great until you get put into a situation where maybe your height is affecting the safety and accuracy of other
or
people's
cognitive
jobs,
ability, whatever it is.
cognitive, like whatever it is, when you're put into a situation that all of a sudden safety is a really big priority, and also the effectiveness of how people perform their job is affected. I don't know that I agree with that. I don't know that I can sit there and say, you know what, I really think that.
Now, I've never been in a flight controller's tower.
Yeah.
Okay.
Air traffic controller.
Dwarfism was on that list, a DEI list to begin with, we can't do certain things like the military. There have been people with dwarfism in the military.
Can they perform every job in the military?
A ton of hard work, but it's a ton of hard work, a mental fortitude, and there's like I'm proud of them.
Right.
It's rare though. It's very, very rare. There are jobs at fighter jet. There's no one with dwarfism about to be a fighter pilot.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that's okay to say. Okay. I feel like sometimes this whole idea, you can be anything you want to be, super cute and cuddly.
On paper.
And
yeah.
like we probably tell our kids that too when they're like 4. Okay.
Yeah.
But as they get older, no, there are jobs that you won't qualify for. And that's not just people with dwarfism. That's okay to say. You know what I'm saying?
And I've said this too. I've said, there are jobs. I am on the other spectrum of things where I don't have a disability, and to the best of my knowledge, I'm a fully functioning person, cognitively able-bodied,
Yep.
all the things. And there are still positions in this world that I would not qualify for.
Yeah.
Because I don't have the mental fortitude. I don't have the physical. Like there are limits even to my normal average height.
Yeah.
There are still things that I cannot do. I will never do.
Yep.
And so to feed this falsehood to our children that they can do and be, and it's just not reality. And I know that sounds harsh, and I know that doesn't feel good, but when our kids are sitting here saying, I want to play in the NBA, all 3 of them, I want to play basketball in the NBA. If we fed this dream that our kids are going to play in the NBA, and then all of a sudden when the draft comes and they're in their 20s and they don't get drafted, who are they going to look back on and go, well, Mom, Dad, you told us that we were going to be in the NBA.
And there's a difference here. Okay, so there's a difference. How'd they even get to that draft in the first place? A high school coach maybe felt bad for them, or a junior high.
Sympathy for them.
Sympathy, which is fine. Those matter. Like a lot of people get 100%. Inspiration, dude, just from that kid being on that court. I'm inspired.
Right.
Look how brave he is, but whatever. I support that. But there has to be some realism to it.
Right.
Like, does this kid really know that he's not going to make the NBA?
Yeah.
Or have we all fed him? Do you know what I'm saying? Is there a reality here, which is, I'll take advantage of it. I would take advantage if back and say, hey, Zach, we'll put you on the varsity team, even though there's other people more qualified, because we like your attitude, we like your behavior. I'm not going to take it beyond that and say, oh, I'm going to the MLS. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's sometimes like
100%.
So anyway.
And you can even use that as an example. Like, you were a very smart soccer player. Like, your mental game on soccer is higher than a lot of people I've had conversations with. Yeah. But you've never sat here and gone, wow, why did I never make it to the MLS?
I could be perfect.
Your mom and dad did a fantastic job of keeping you grounded and knowing, you know what? You're so good at soccer, and there's going to be an avenue in life somewhere that you can really take this to the next level. It probably won't be playing professionally.
Totally.
And I think that us as a generation, we're bringing up this new generation. We're coddling them. We're whatever feels good, let's do that. And
again, though, those certain kids might be average height kids, able-bodied kids you can have that luxury as a parent. In my belief.
But you're right. But even the average height parents that are sitting here, you can play in the NBA, you can play in the MLS, you can play in whatever it is. The likelihood of just that happening is very low. So it's like, if you don't keep your kids' expectations under control, that's when all of this just like blows up.
You have to have a balance between hope but also realism. You know what I'm saying?
And don't get us wrong. We're not sitting here telling our kids, you can't do this, can't do this, you can't. No, our kids are 7, 5, and 2. Like, no, that's not what we're saying. We're just saying that, like, as a society, at some point in parenting, you do have to have real conversations with your kids.
Yes. So let's go back to LPA's post about it, and then everyone ran with it, okay? Which I disagree with, okay? Yes, it's harsh. We can fight and get jobs. People before us, before DEI have gotten amazing positions in society. It is possible.
That's a very important point,
Yes.
though. Before DEI was a thing, LPs are in the community doing jobs that are amazing.
If dwarfism is on a DEI list, I disagree. That's a target. You put a target on that.
It's also just an asterisk.
It's the same
now.
thing with women. Like once you say like we have to make an initiative to hire more women, and then when there's a mistake in certain jobs, I want to segue though. Okay, LPA made this post. A parent was like, I disagree. An average type parent was like, I disagree with this. I'm gonna raise my daughter this, and this. Okay, and then someone
and this and this was hard.
Yeah,
earn what she like. It was like hard work and earning what she Yeah.
And someone with dwarfism, an adult with dwarfism, goes, I low key feel bad for your daughter. Okay, this is if you're following me still, this is a segue back to we get a ton of comments to us of random people on the internet basically saying, I feel bad for your kids, that they have dwarfism, that they have to, why would you bring them into this world? For a person of dwarfism to say anything of that sort, you know what I'm saying? Mind-boggling. To an average height parent. Okay, an ally. How you respond, you actually just made that average height parent, which I agree with that average height parent. So that's my portion in this. I came in here because everyone's ripping this guy. And I'm like, time out. I didn't say time out. I said, that was well said.
Yeah.
Okay. You can't come at me the same way you can come at an average height parent in the community. You know what I'm saying?
A person of dwarfism can't come at you.
Yes, there's differences.
Right.
I have 3 dwarf kids. How that guy just worded it, which is way better than I could have. That's what kind of, I just get mad sometimes. And I'm like, this guy, I liked how he said it. Well, you know, you can't come out the same way. Then someone else says, you're a DEI hire. How can, because of our show is a DEI show, and I'm a product. I'm a perfect example of a DEI hire. This is where it gets just nutty. And as a person with dwarfism that has 3 dwarf kids, I get upset. I get sad that that's the mindset coming from other people with dwarfism. It's a bucket of crabs. Okay, it's a bucket of crabs for starters. One thing, DEI, if we're all understanding exactly what DEI means, if I'm a DEI hire in the entertainment industry, for sure, don't care. To compare a DEI hire from, say I am a DEI hire in the entertainment industry to a flight controller or something like a job like that, you know what I'm saying? These are 2 separate things. So separate. For starters. Okay. Right. This can be all the DEI in the world. Right. Okay. These are 2 separate things. Okay. So to say that also, is comparing it, wait, hold on, is mind boggling. Also though, for this person to say this, you are ignoring everything my dad and mom did before the show. Yes. Okay. My dad and mom were 34-acre landowners. Okay. My dad had a high sales position, not a DEI department job in some corporate. Okay. He sold product for the actual company. Yes. Okay. Honestly, if the company started downsizing, his department is one of the last departments they downsized. Right. Okay. Just putting that out there.
Very successful businessman. Very successful.
Him and my mom created a lifestyle attractive enough to be on television.
And your
with
mom,
dwarfism.
Your mom especially had 2 jobs. Yeah. She had 2, to call her, to discredit that is mind blowing.
To come from the own community, to have that mindset blew me away. And just so quick off the tongue with it, aka writing, but so quick off the keyboard with that opinion, really saddened me.
Disheartening. For sure.
So, and it just, now that's why I don't want any dwarfism on any DEI list. You think we are DEI? So who isn't a DEI? All these other people that have come before us, that Billy Barty, that made all the success. He writes about his conversations with these different hotel owners and then convinces them to host the first LPA events, you know,
Yeah.
But then you put a DEI tag on it. You put a target on those people's backs. There are jobs out there for my kids. You know what I'm saying? There are things that they can do. There are things that they're not going to be able to do. But there are things they can do. And when they do those things, when they succeed and work hard and push through barriers, you know what I'm saying? I don't want anyone to say, oh, it's because of DEI.
And that's where I don't understand
Yeah.
is where would you want that asterisk on a job? Where would you want this, like, you got this because you checked our box for our DEI equity, like, initiative of the month. And I wouldn't want that job. Like, don't give me that job. Give me the job that I deserve. Give me the job that I'm qualified for. And the same for our kids.
No,
like,
I think there is like a world, like there is like, hey, consider this person. Like, I don't think put a name on initiative like that. It's dangerous. But there are things as society grows, you know, don't write someone off just because they have dwarfism on a certain appropriate job.
100%.
Okay. I think that matters, but I do think people with dwarfism, like, we do have to work maybe a little bit harder. We have to be a little bit more than and that's normal. That's okay in my mind. Otherwise we just keep playing this victim card of the world doesn't see us who we are. Like, Trump hates us, this and that. Like, no, we live in such a luxury. Here's the thing too. We live in such a luxury in America, in my belief, that like we can spit off from the mouth like we are right now, but also like these other people are, where it's like, we're so privileged to even be saying or arguing about this in the first place. 100%. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's anyway, it was just very disheartening. The whole reaction from the community in my mind was very like, there's someone on Facebook that did say something like, hey guys, Trump said what he said. This happened. Put your shoes on, go to work today, you know, get moving. And I like that. I was like, 100%, like, get your bootstraps on. Yeah. And, you know, but they're playing this victim card and everything, for me, just, it did not resonate. And once again, a lot of cultural issues within LPA just don't resonate with me. And it's painful sometimes because those are my people in my mind. Like, those are my kids. Like, that's.
And I think that's what's really hard about it is those are our people. They're your people. But like, I've also made connections with people within the LP community. And that's what's hard, because I really do see these people as like, you can be and do so much more if you just get past yourself. Like, if you just saw a little bit more of the bigger picture, I truly believe. But it starts with
leadership though. And I think LPA's the last couple years, their messaging is very emotional.
Very pitiful. It's very pitiful.
It's my dating analogy for boys mostly. I like it. Okay, if you have a dwarf child, a boy, okay, and he's trying to date in high school, are you raising him? He looks like the kids she's babysitting on the weekend. Are you acting like it too? Yeah. Okay, is your child acting like he's 8 years old? He's 16. Right. You know what I'm saying? You already look like you're 8. So what are you trying to? How are you creating?
How are you convincing everyone else that you are an adult?
How are you creating presence for yourself? How are you creating something different? Because you don't have the luxury of looks or that 6'4" presence. You can have a 6'4" guy looking like a doofus. He could be so immature, but he has that physical presence. The girl's gonna give him a chance, and then maybe it's 3 dates later that she figures out he's immature. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Does that sound familiar?
Called out.
All right. Okay. Anyway.
Or you give the short guy a chance, and it just really works out sometimes.
Anyway, that's my.
But I think that Zachary was brought up in a home that didn't believe in this idea that you're just going to get handed whatever it is because you have dwarfism. No, you were rooted in this idea that, like, yeah, you have dwarfism. God made you that way. God made you. And I think that the society as a whole needs to look at that a little bit more of God makes all of us with our own strengths and our own weaknesses. Why don't we use them to help each other? Why don't we take, your strengths, mask my weaknesses? Why don't we put those together? But instead, we look at only each other's weaknesses and we pick apart those, or we look at only our own weaknesses. And it's like, if God wanted to make us all the same, he would have done that. But like, he didn't want us all the same. He wanted us different.
And I get it. It's easier for maybe someone like you to say that. It is tough to hear that sometimes. But as adults, as people with dwarfisms, all these people responding online, we're all adults here. As an adult to respond right now, you're responding the same way Jackson responds when we say he can't ride a roller coaster. He's a child.
Bring it around, Zachary.
He gets to say that.
Yeah.
Okay. We are all adults here. Life's not fair.
Life is not fair.
Buckle up. And again, I'm going to
get yourself a
drill
helmet.
This. That mindset, you're
not going to go. You're going to stay in high school. You're going to stay.
And people say I'm privileged because of the show, whatever. Fine. My dad had this mindset. Okay. I grew up in a household with this mindset that I'm preaching now, because look what they did before the show. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So this.
You don't get 34 acres of land
So I'm going to use my voice, though. You know what I'm saying? To be this. I will say there's a lot of people out there that agree with me in the dwarf community. They're not as collected but there are a lot of people out there that agree. And for me, I feel I have been given this platform. Yeah. Hold on here. This isn't as easy as we're all making it out to be. Or this isn't as simple as.
It's not as black and white.
Yeah. Trump's an idiot and this and blah, blah, blah. It's like.
And that's the thing, though, too. Another point is when you have a community, a group of people that all no matter what a person says, they don't like what that person says just because of who they are. Yeah. It's hard when that person is in charge of the United States of America. You cannot look at it as this person hates me and this person is against me, because you're just going to hurt yourself. It's the same thing as when there were presidents in the office that we did not agree with. I didn't sit here. It didn't affect my life every single day. Yeah. It was, I don't really agree with that, but I have to keep living my life and I have to keep doing my thing.
There is a lot of things. We think the presidency of the United States is a lot closer to home than it really is.
It shouldn't be.
We think it's a lot closer to home. And it's honestly most of our lives are going to continue to say our life's over because someone's got elected from both sides. I've heard this
doesn't matter
all over the spectrum. It's it may be a couple bumps here, maybe a couple prices go up or whatever, but it's so that, okay, the Batman movie had a thing at the end where the police officer, I think, killed someone or did something.
It's been a while since I've seen the Batman movie.
And Christian Bale, but then Christian Bale or the Batman takes the blame because this is their hero. This is Gotham's hero, the DA agent or whatever it is. That they need to believe that this guy is still good. Yeah. So he's like, I will take the blame. They can blame, even though I'm the one that saved the day. I will, if they, that's me being a hero, is blame me. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, does that not
me,
sound?
Not me. What?
Does that not sound like I'm going to go there? Does that not sound like Jesus? I feel when you don't have Jesus at the center of your life and you don't know that he paid the price for you. Yeah. He's your Batman. He's the one that's taking the credit for all of our sin and all of our mistakes. Yeah. He's the Batman. Yeah. So sorry, I love your Batman analogy, but I think Jesus might be a better analogy for that.
Jesus is a great one. I guess, Jesus is a great one. Batman, though, I guess
Batman might resonate with more people.
Sometimes we just blame someone. And again, though, as leadership of LPA, to do that, I think is just, it's a disservice to the LP community. It doesn't empower anyone.
I just feel if they wanted to post something about it, post away, do it. Encourage people of the LPA community to not let things bother them, but do it in a light that was they could have done it so much more positively, and they could have done it in a way that said, they didn't have to be so specific. They could have just said, remind yourself today that when you wake up and you go to work, you're doing the best that you can do. You're doing your best and you're forgetting the rest.
Well, I feel like
it could have just been so much more gracious.
They haven't gotten a lot of pushback, and they haven't gotten a lot of, I think, public pushback in their messaging recently. And so in my mind, I'm I kind of want to I want there to be a little bit of a different, I want an improved LPA messaging by the time my kids get older. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And I think, so that's kind of my reasoning also. And again, it hurts me because I don't want to be the black piece on the chessboard and then LPA is the white piece. And then,
Yeah.
but I do feel this builds a stronger LPA, a stronger community if my kids choose to lean on that when they get older.
It can't be
Because
one-sided.
right now it's very one-sided, and yeah, it's just
You're going to lose a lot of people if you keep it one-sided. You're going to lose a lot of on both sides. No, it doesn't matter what side you're on. You're going to lose people that need that community because you're making it political.
Or there's people that will go and they'll agree with LPA just because they want the party, they want to communicate, or they want to socialize.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's the thing. A lot of people, I'm like, do you agree with LPA? Or do you just like to socialize it?
And I really think it is.
You feel like you have to play the part, because you do want to fit into society, and you aren't maybe privileged I'll say I'm privileged. I can say this, and I'm different. People are going to react differently per the post than when someone else says it.
Right.
It's not going to be this mob. They're going to be a little bit more measured, or hypothetically, a little bit more measured, a little bit more well, hold on here. My last story, there was a guy in LPA a while back, a couple of years ago, when, he shared some Fox News opinion, and LPA, there's a little bit of a mob within LPA that ran him out of town, basically said he was a, racist and all this other thing. And I think they revoked his membership. And
and it just
I don't know all
that.
the details of that, but what I saw publicly, I'm like, you guys just bent to the mob here on someone. And for me, that's not how that goes.
And if you're trying to build a community around people who have a disability like dwarfism, people aren't born into dwarfism with you're going to have people from all walks of life.
Yeah.
You don't get to choose where you get dwarfism, rich, poor, black, white, America, not America, anywhere else. It's just, you don't get to choose where you are. Yeah. So you have people coming from all walks of life, from all places of the United States and beyond, totally other countries and everything. So when you meld that many people together, you can't make it political. You have to make it as we are here because this is bringing us community. This is bringing us a place to feel normal or average, however you want to say it. This is giving us a spot to connect with people that deal with issues that I deal with on a daily basis. It doesn't need to be about politics.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be about, in my opinion, it should be more of,
promoting dwarfism in a powerful, strong way, promoting our issues not in an emotional victimhood way. That's what I'm saying. And they do a lot of good work in the medical field, with providing a social events, district regionals, you know what I'm saying? Community is a powerful thing, and so a little bit, sometimes I'm like, man, stay in your lane, guys. Because this could fracture things, and it's hard to promote for me. So anyway, my thing on this podcast was I have things to say about this that go way against the grain. If you're an average height, which you probably are, of the
that's me.
A couple 100,000 or not 100,000, a couple thousand that watch this, you maybe are like, what the heck's going on?
Yeah.
This is way against the grain of, but it's my opinion. And I think there could be different ways.
It's our opinion.
Yeah, our opinion. There's different ways to say things. And if we do want change, and honestly, if change doesn't happen, you keep moving. You turn your head, turn the other cheek, and keep moving. Because when you throw a hissy fit, either you get it's the Snow White thing. You get dismissed from the table. They just, we don't want to deal with that. And you get dismissed,
Yeah.
So
I think it's also important to remember as we close out here that we're all just trying to do our best. Really, I always say it as a joke because it's our slogan, but I think that Zach and I we're just trying to do our best and what we see fit for our kids. And we could get to the end of this life and realize, wow, we did it all wrong. But that's not how we see it currently. We're just doing our best and
but it's I'll read the comments. If someone wants to debate an actual
but debate and not demean.
And
there's such a huge difference.
Yeah, well, give me that's why I wanted to do this in a long form. A long form reasoning,
thought out.
There are multiple points to my position. This isn't just one thing.
Yeah.
There's multiple And I had this position before Trump, and I'll probably have this position after Trump in a way, unless someone convinces me otherwise. It's like, it's not this who's the next person I'm going to blame. You know,
And it's important to remember that we are the players of chess and not the chess pieces. We are the friends, not the enemies of one another.
Yeah. So anyway, wrap us up before I go on.
Wrap it up. Are you still here?
I'm here.
Or not you. I'm talking about them.
Oh, yeah.
Are they still here? Are you guys still here?
I don't know.
Oh man,
We'll
if you're still here, thank you for tagging along with us on that.
We'll be able to see the data points to see where, if a bunch of people just drop off,
I know.
We'll be able to see exactly what we said that made that happen.
Yeah. Next week, we're going to have a lot more fun of an episode.
Yes.
Okay. It's going to be a lot less.
The kids are coming back.
The kids are coming back. They're very excited about it.
They're very excited
Good
about
luck. The last time we did it, Josiah, pretty sure, ingested some microphone and there was a lot of yelling.
We have a new editor recently, the last couple episodes, so we're gonna be putting him through the ringer.
Oh yeah, good luck.
Yeah, so
good luck to you.
Yeah, so we'll see if he can pass that.
Yeah.
test.
Make sure you like and subscribe everywhere you listen to podcasts. Make sure you follow us on Instagram and YouTube. Do your best.
Forget the rest.